aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is Fly in Formation. It's a spin-off from my weekly mix show. I do a hip-hop mix show called After the Smoke is Clear, or at Sick Radio, if you want to make it into an acronym. And on that, every week I play an hour worth of independent Canadian hip-hop, 100% Canadian content. It's always new release. I do my best to stay tapped in with local scenes and discover new artists across the country. So this interview series was kind of the spin-off where I decided to let's really dig in and get to know these scenes a little bit better and start talking to some of the people who make up those scenes. So today, I've talked to artists from pretty much every major city. I don't think, Quebec City, I haven't talked to anybody there just yet. But you guys are the first two from Montreal, so welcome aboard. Today I've got Vincent Pryce and Slik Jack. Recording in. Yeah, man, how you guys doing?
Good, bro. Good. Just dropped our new project. We're happy, man. We're getting good numbers, good feedback. So I'm in a good mood.
That's beautiful, man. So the new project here, The Price You Pay, it's the second one from you two this year, right? You did
That's right.
Everybody's Got a Price earlier in the year.
In January we dropped, and now we just dropped the second. Well, it's a sequel, but not a sequel. We didn't put Everyone's Got a Price Part 2. We went, another route.
Yeah, I was going to ask that if it was a follow-up or if it was a switch-up more, but...
Well, that's it. It was a switch-up. We were initially going to go for a sequel, but then we were people and sequels, so we're let's do something that feels different.
Sure. You don't like how people do sequels? Spiritual successor to it? Okay. You don't like sequel albums?
Let's say...
I find they usually fall flat. They don't live up to
some people are dope at it, Mickey Diamond and Big Ghost, LTD, their sequel was fucking off the hook. Even I think a few artists have it, but it's not all the time. I've done it with Cement Shoes, and I didn't think Part 2 was in the same vein as the first one, so I don't want to kind of do that, and that's why I thought let's not do a Part 2. Let's use a new title,
Sure. Yeah, it can definitely, and it can be big shoes to fill if people really like the first album or whatever. I was talking last week with Maloney about Supreme Clientele 2. And, I love Ghostface, but I didn't particularly love the album as much as maybe something with Supreme Clientele on the front. Going into it, I thought I would love it like that. But, yeah.
I was about to use that as an example.
Yeah.
How Supreme... Yeah, and there's someone was saying there's tracks on there. They're like, this song was recorded 10 years ago, which is cool. I know, because I feel Ghost talked about it. He was like, oh, I've been building up tracks, and he's like, oh, this is going to go on that. This is so he had tracks in the vault that were specifically going to be for Supreme Clientele 2 or whatever. But I just felt like it was almost too bloated, and it was just it didn't have that. It was good. If it was just a regular Ghostface record, I would have been
I'm happy to hear Ghost just rap.
This is a good Ghost rap, right? But it didn't have to be Supreme Clientele 2.
Yeah.
Whereas Cuban Links 2, I felt, while it wasn't as strong as the first one, was it was like Back to the Future 2. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still pretty good.
It felt like more of an appropriate follow-up to me. Yeah, I would agree with that. So I guess, can we just take this whole thing back to the start? How did you guys meet each other? How long have you guys known each other?
We've known each other for a minute. Yeah. We were in a crew to begin with. Well, he was in a crew, and I was hanging out with some other dudes, and then we decided to do a super crew, and that was in, I don't know what year around.
12.
Around there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a while, long time coming to work together like this, then, eh?
Yeah. And he initially Slik Jack, I think he rapped on maybe one or two of my beat, because there was a bunch of producers in the crew, there was a few groups, there was a few like solo artists, and we all like kind of came together, and we all like pooled our money together and like rented out venue, and we would do like shows pretty like every month, and it would be like a rotating like bunch of the artists. Like one show would be like everyone would be in the show, but it would be like one show would be like this is the headlining artist because they have a project coming out, and then it would be all the other people that were in the crew like featuring on songs and this and that. So we were like a collective, and it like really worked out. We did like 3-4 shows like that, and like it just kind of like I wouldn't say fell apart, but everyone didn't have the same kind of vision in mind. Like, when there's that many people, it's kind of it's hard to get everyone on the same page all the time. So
for real. Yeah. To go back to Woo, that's one of the things that makes Woo so amazing is that it's 9 guys who have actually, you know, managed to stay friends for this long. Right? Yeah. Right.
Crazy.
Is anybody from that crew still active in the Montreal scene? Like, was it a bunch of guys from Montreal? Okay.
Kind of. Yeah, like a few. Like, okay, so there's like Katola, who's a really dope producer and rapper, and he's been working with this girl from Montreal, Chung. I don't know if you've heard of her. She just did a song with Conway. Did she do a song with Conway? I know she just did a song with Styles P.
Okay, nice.
She's really dope. She's really good. So yeah, Katola, he's a dope producer. The Boom Bap Cats, the CL is still rapping. Cool Man Logan. Senecal is kind of still rapping, but he's mostly he's a stand-up comedian now.
Okay.
So my group we were called Murderface. We had like one EP. It got quite a bit of attention in the city. You know, we off of just doing one EP, we made a bit of like an impact, like more than I expected, and that like, but then, yeah, we just never made a follow up. It was just too much, you know, contention, politics, whatever. It's just like it just didn't work out. Then I just started focusing more on like DJing and producing, and yeah, for years I didn't talk to Slik, and then I think it was like I would see him, you know, doing things here and there. Like the city's small, it's not, and the scene is even smaller. So,
well, Jack's been busy for the last, I want to say,
but that's it.
I saw 5-7 years. Like, I don't know. You got a lot of work out lately.
And then he was doing stuff with Screeb, and he was doing stuff with, and then just like, you know, I would see songs come out, just like dope features, and like he's still doing his thing, owning his craft, getting better, just like I was as a producer, you know. And I linked up with the Onyx and 100 Mad, their like label, and I saw that the 100 Mad was like sharing his stuff, and I was just like, oh shit, it's like that. So I like reached out to him on some like, yo, I'm, you know, affiliated with them too. It looks like they're sharing your stuff. I'm like, let's, you know, we know each other, let's do something. And then he was just like, yeah, I'm finishing up this thing, da 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 da. I'll get back at you when I'm not busy. I was like, all right, cool. And then I didn't think of anything of it. And then a few months later, he hit me back up, and then yeah, we started working.
That's funny that you guys knew each other, but that it took somebody else kind of showing you some of what Slik Jack had been up to recently for you to circle back and you know, reach out and try to make a project happen. Because
yeah,
like a lot of people have told me, you know, that nobody will respect you inside your own city until you get that cosign from somebody outside the city. Was Buddy, who you said posted his music, was that somebody in Montreal, or is that from outside the city?
Yeah, like the outside. Well, I don't say it's complicated, but it's just like, so basically Onyx's manager is from here, and I know him, and I've done like that's how I got like affiliated with them.
Yeah, that explains so much about why Onyx works with so many Canadians. And tours Canada so often and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it you know, by happenstance, it just that it worked out, and it worked out for the best, because it's just like I've, you know, created two of my best projects, I'd say, with Slik, you know.
Vice
So
versa, dog.
to bring it up to this new project, I guess let's put a question to both of you. Can Vincent, can you describe what people should expect from the instrumental side of this album, and likewise, Slik Jack, tell us, you know, what people can expect from the lyrical side of this album.
I'll let Vince kick it off.
Hard beats, like I love smacking drums. I am a fan of the drumless loops. Like I do make beats like that. You know, we've got two Nicholas Craven co-productions on here that he was gracious enough to you know, let me, you know, kind of remix. I guess he like gave me a bunch of like samples that he had chopped up, and I put my, you know, touch on them. And then I'd say the sound is kind of like, there's a lot of like prog rock samples, you know, guitars. There's some just like melancholic pianos. I'd say it's like a cohesive sound, but also there's enough different soundscapes and like sound emotions that you're not going to get bored. It's not like every track sounds the same, you know. There's like a good throughway of just like, it sounds familiar, everything kind of flows together, but it's not like, oh, everything just sounds the same type.
I like that you included a lot of kind of nostalgic samples on there too, like the KRS-One sample, and I think there's one sample that reminded, well, that I think was also used by Jay-Z at one point. I don't know if it was necessarily Jay. It was definitely a sample I recognized midway through the album, I want to say. But yeah, there was definitely some more nostalgic kind of boom bap feel to it as well, included in there for sure. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
As for me, we kind of like premeditated this project, like let's say like 2 weeks after the release. We had to attend let's say not that we had to attend, but we technically kind of had to be there for the Onyx show that was in Montreal not too long after the release of Everyone's Got a Price. And before the show kicked off, you know, we were chit-chatting in the off stage and whatnot, and we were like, you know, we should probably do a second part or something. And I was like, okay. And then we were spitballing ideas real quick. I was like, nah, let's do an EP. Let's get, you know, let's fucking go all out and get some names I'd love to work with. And he's like, absolutely, you know, let's do that for sure. And well, it turned out an LP, so that part didn't go through, but like the other parts did, you know, like we had a bunch of other names in mind, but the names that we got on the project are definitely like, you know, some checklist shit, you know, like some bucket list dudes, like SDNAC. Like I love that joint. Oh shit, hold up.
Yeah, that track is dope, man. I really like that. The one that Getaway Chauffeur, right?
Absolutely, and that joint, like I swear to God, like the fact that it goes back and forth like that, it's like I couldn't have asked better. You know, like it's the perfect joint for me. Like honestly,
how
to
did
go
some
back
of these
and forth with somebody like that?
Yeah, for real. How did something like that line up? Like, did you get a chance to actually meet him, or was it sending files back and forth?
Yeah, so we're just shooting messages back and forth and this and that. But I don't know if you're aware, the way I work initially is like I usually pre-record all the tracks first. All my vocals are laid down, and then I do a zip file and I send it to Vince or whoever. Well, Vince and he builds the soundtrack around it, basically.
Oh, okay. So the vocals were
Yeah. So
recorded to other beats.
there's nothing like he didn't send me like a beat pack or anything, you know, for me to go over. Like I sent him, so he's really building this cinema or whatever, you know, this movie
Yeah,
for the both
they're
of us.
remixes in a way. Then, hey?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the remix original or whatever you want to call them, but yeah, that's it. He has like the chance to like build around the vocals and you know and that's also why I think that getaway chauffeur joint was so dope. And you could hear like not a climax but um a beat switch when ST comes on. It's like it's minimal but it's worth $1 million, you know what I mean? Like he did some really dope shit on there.
Weird. I
Vince.
mean, props, man. That's tough to work like that. Like doing remixes of lyrics from scratch, and building beats behind it. You often end up, like we've all heard Biggie on weird remixes where it's like, I don't know if
Yeah.
Big would flow like this if he
Yeah.
was presented with this beat, like, or how many other MCs. It's difficult to remix
I'm not gonna
a
lie
beat
though,
behind
like
lyrics like that. Like,
I do that for all the albums. Like every single album I do, I pre-record all my shit and I send it to the producer. And you know, sometimes it's easy. So like everyone's got a price. Vince was knocking them out 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you know. And then
man,
this one came around, and you know we had
It took us all summer, like essentially. Whereas like the first project came together in like a month, maybe less. Like it was just like da, da, da. I'm also, we're both dads. We have kids.
there's only so much time in the day, right?
I don't have a like I like my most of my creativity time is at night. Like I have like a few hours to like be creative. I'll make beats or whatever, just or watch movies, da da da. So everything was done like in the evening at night, like before I'm going to bed. Basically, like there was times on the weekend where I had time, an hour or two here. Same with his recording schedule. Like I don't know exactly how it, but he kind of like told me he was just like, oh, I have like an hour or two. I'm gonna like I have the
I have an
verses. I'm
hour
gonna like
once a
put them
week.
down. Yeah.
Once a week, I have an hour at lunchtime to record a joint. So I gotta knock it out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And that's always how you record it. You must be working with
Every single album.
only very talented producers. What do you actually record over? Are you rapping over classics when you're recording?
But I come from a time where like the internet, you weren't getting instrumentals, right? And if you didn't have a plug to get a beat, you weren't rapping on anything, And I wanted to be a rapper, so I tried to make my own beats. They were trash. So I was like, okay, well, I finally figured out how you go on YouTube and snatch a instrumental, and I spit over some beats I really loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
mixtape style.
exactly, and that's what motivated me because I wasn't hanging out with a lot of MCs. I was hanging out with all types of different people. So I was rapping by myself. So the only competition I really had was a dude that was on that joint. You know what I mean? Like who was on that instrumental. So let's say like I copped some Wu-Tang shit. My
Yeah,
competition was Raekwon and Meth. You know what I mean? So
makes sense. That's a high bar to get over for sure, man.
exactly. But that's who I'm fighting. Well, I'm competing with.
So yeah, I like that. Man, something I like about your wordplay on this, well, on all your stuff, really. But was thinking about it earlier today, and I say it a lot, but I really love how hip hop uses there's always new ways to say the same stuff, right? We've been hearing gangster rap for 30 years at this point,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Um, and it amazes me every time I hear like a new gun bar that's clever enough that it's like, fuck, that's right there, but nobody's thought of it for 30 years. Like, goddamn, yeah, man, you had something on here where it was like they got 2 aces, but I got 38s up my sleeve, and I was like, damn, man, like just some
Mm-hmm.
intricate
Yeah,
wordplay that's, you know, not necessarily based off of how many syllables you can get into a bar, but just new ways to say
Clever.
stuff, right? Yeah. And I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you though, dude, like, do you feel like it would be easier to come up with word plays that aren't around that subject matter? Like if you were to
yeah,
completely change up your subject matter, right? There's all sorts of word plays nobody's ever heard, but rapping about guns, you got to sit there and think of like a new way to say that shit so that it doesn't sound like retread, right?
yeah. But it's psychological as well. You know, you got to know that. You know, like Wu Tang would say, the sword is a part of the tongue, and it's metaphorical. You know, it's also like the gun. Like obviously, I'm not stacking all these fucked up guns in my crib. Uh,
Disclaimer,
I'm
yeah.
not a new. You know,
If
like
the police are
Not
I'm
in
not a
watching,
newbie
Canada.
to I'm not a
yeah,
newbie to pistols though, because my father was a gun collector. So you know, he kind of pushed that on me. He had the armoire in the house. He had all the pistols. He's a real proud dude. He was the type of guy to open a brand new knife out of the case with another knife that he just, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
so it was like fucking nonstop weapon. Like, and I kind of love that shit. I kind of brought that into my hip hop world, and I like the MCs like Cool G Rap that was like on that shit. You know, that was fucking crazy to me. So and like most, I think Mob Deep, like anybody, like everything that I like, that dark shit, that dark like Queen style. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that shit was like, whoa, you know, that's that shit I want to go outside to and fuck shit up, you know.
for
So,
real, man. I wanted to ask you too, Jack, like it
but
for you to
hold on. Let me go back to that question. Yes, I could drop metaphors and fucking wordplay like any subject because I have done other types of albums. I've done
right.
bitch albums talking about bitches and doing all types of metaphors about how the pussy this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, like I'm not there anymore. You know, I'm on a whole other fucking ball field now. You know what I mean? Like I got kids. I'm not there anymore. I'm doing some other shit.
How about for what you listen to? That was what I wanted to ask. Is like, do
Ah,
you
yeah.
only gravitate towards listening to street music? Like, in your opinion, should hip hop be street oriented like that?
Well, I don't personally. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not like fucking. I'm not listening to all types of hip hop all the time. If I do, I'm going back to the roots, or I'm like, you know, I have a lot of shit in my head, so I listen to a lot of like jazz. To be
Yeah,
honest, like I'm that's it. I'm a magnet to that kind of music right now. Like, you know, it all depends on the mood, really. If I am feeling
surprises
like
me
I
how
gotta
many
write, I gotta
lyricists
get
say that.
inspired, then it's a different story, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, a lot of lyricists tell me that they listen to a lot of, you know, jazz or blues or old soul or whatever else instead of listening to other MCs. Uh, which I kind of can understand and relate
Well,
to.
I
I'm
can
an MC
explain it to
myself,
you. I
right?
can
But
explain it to you because you know you're listening to Curtis Mayfield. You know, you're sitting in your whip. You feel like, damn, I'm the coolest motherfucker on earth. You know what I mean? And that
right,
feeling, you won't get that from fucking like Redman. Like, oh, I stomp on your foot in the forest, and you know, no, you're in a fucking whip. You know, you're the coolest motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about, man.
yeah,
And those were like, you know, some real life people. You know, like no, I'm not shitting on Redman. They're one of the top fucking five. You know what
of
I mean? That
course.
was just an example, but yeah, it's a whole different vibe. Like that's I'll gravitate to that kind of thing, like more often than hip hop.
It's easier to
I
lay
mean, you
back
got
and chill to
Superman
anything other
Lover
than
and all those, a lot of funk music. Redman's got a
Yeah,
lot of, any, but yeah,
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 no, he is.
I
Yeah,
know what you mean.
absolutely.
yeah. I
Because
mean, for me, just
I don't,
any music with dense lyrics like that is tough for me to, especially like if I'm gonna have a conversation with other people. I don't want rap on in the background because then I start paying attention to the lyrics rather
yeah.
than what the
Yeah,
people
that's it.
sitting around with me are saying, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, so I guess Vincent, you'd worked with Nicholas Craven before, right? I was
Yeah.
interested in the two collab beats. I was going to ask kind of how those came together. You mentioned that he sent them over, and then you just put a few finishing touches on them, or was it actually
Uh,
sessions you guys got to
no,
chop it
well,
up together?
okay. So year 20, in like 2018, me and him did a full like collaboration project together featuring only Montreal based artists. And yeah, those beats I would go to his place and we would go through samples. I had samples, he had samples. At that time he was still kind of like coming up. He wasn't like the revered producer that he is now, so to speak. He had done some stuff with Griselda and stuff, but even them, they weren't like, they had just signed to Shady and weren't like, you know, who they were at the time.
2020 was still early in that whole wave for sure.
Yeah, so that's it. And that was like 2018. I think it was just 20. So it was like December 2018. It was just so we did this project called the Habitants or Habitant, and yeah, the cover was like the Habitat 67. It was like these buildings that were built during Expo 67, and they're these like really unique, distinct looking building. Like I guess they're apartments, but they're like they were cubed apartments, and some of them came out and like look it up. It's a very like a distinct looking building in Montreal. So we used that as like the cover, and yeah, it just featured a bunch of like Montreal artists that me and him worked with, like, you know, Lowe's, Shells, just like our friend, a bunch of people. Anyways, there were like 17 tracks. So he had like reached out to me like maybe a few months prior, just being a fan of my beats, and he had kind of been like reaching out to all the like producers in Montreal that had made somewhat of an impact, and we just kind of became friends off of that. And like, yeah, I've known him for years and I've watched his career, you know, kind of like over the few years, like become what it is. And yeah, he's, you know, just like from his first shout out from Alchemist, and like just I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. Like it was like a song he did with Fahim, the God Fahim. It was like Nosferatu, and Alchemist retweeted it, and I was just like, yo, that's crazy. Like I had met Alchemist, if he had like, so yeah, Alchemist, Muggs, and RZA are my like top three producers, just to kind of give you
Solid list.
an
Yeah,
idea
I
of
like that.
Yeah, the
like
gods.
what I my sound, what I gravitate towards, or who I'm influenced by. Um, so yeah, like, you know, we'd done shit over the years, and then for this project, I asked him, you know, to kind of be a part of it, and I went to his house one night after some show, and he was just like, gave me his laptop, and he was just like, yeah, go through these beats and like pick what you want. Like I picked like 30 beats, and you know, two of them I chopped up what he had chopped up, so it was just like, and then put drums on it essentially, because he's known as a drumless producer, but he does put drums on his beat. It's like not all of them, but like a lot. Like, yeah. Anyways, all I have to say is he co-produced the tracks by graciously, you know, giving me his laptop and letting me go through tracks he wasn't using at the time, and he was just like, yeah, you know, work your magic on them. And
Yeah, that
yeah,
counts as much as any other way of collaborating, man. That's dope that that you know you had that access and ability to do that. And it's also kind of cool to hear some Craven stuff with some beefed up drums on it. Honestly,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
yeah. So something I was thinking about as I was listening to this album is it definitely has like a traditional boom bap sound.
Yeah.
And it made me think about this whole new age resurgence of that boom bap sound. And I wanted to ask you guys both and get answers from both of you for sure about, do you feel like you're pushing that lane of music forward? Like, is this an advancement, or is this a continuation of tradition? Like, carrying on tradition and doing what they did now?
Well, for me, like that's what I love to begin with. But you know, I'm open to all types of shit. You know, like I'll do some drumless shit. I'll do, you know, uh, whatever's good, whatever feels good in the moment. You know, I don't want to I don't want to like, you know, box myself in saying that I'm just trying to do this 90s shit, you know, like
Right.
because technically it's not. Yeah, okay, it's part of that cloth, but it's not the same, you know, the BPM wise, cadence wise, everything's kind of like, you know, it's and recording wise, you know, like I mean, from the analog to what we're recording today on the microphones we're recording today is a whole different, you know, um, quality and space in your ears. You know what I mean? So it'll never be what it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything will be you know, new as it comes out. I guess. Like, I couldn't tell. I couldn't say like that's what I'll stay at. You know.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good to be open to change or whatever, but to still have those traditional values and still gravitate
Absolutely.
towards
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sound
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, yeah. What about you, Vincent? Do you feel like you're pushing the sound forward with these
I'd say it's a bit
productions?
of both. A bit of both. Um, where I'm at in making beats, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's like, oh, it's formulaic. I do have like a a kind of a workflow that it probably would help me to get out of, just because I'm just like, oh yeah, I know, I can put together a beat in like 5, 10, 15 minutes, like if I wanted to, and like it would sound good enough to be like a track. And sometimes I feel like I do need to uh, push myself a little to be a bit more experimental. And I did for years. I was like, I stopped making boom bap beats, and I was only making like trap beats and like bass and like EDM stuff. Like I just, and I was like DJing a lot. Like there was a good period of like 2012, 13 to like 2015, 16 that I was like almost not making any boom bap beats. Like I was still making sample based music. Like I was always, and I was like blending the two. Like
Right.
I was using like break beats and like trap beats and like, you know, weird samples and like time stretching them and like using my like foundation, but also like trying to like push and progress my sound. But so for this project, I didn't feel like it was, that's what it was. Like the first, one of the first few 2 or 3 beats that like I sent to Slik were kind of in that direction. And he was just like, yeah, this is a bit too epic. Like this is not the way I like, you know, I think this is a bit too out of the box of like what I had envisioned for this album or project or whatever. Um, all that to say is, I think um, I don't know, hip hop's in a kind of place right now where it's like, yeah, there's like the experimental stuff, there's the drumless stuff, there's like the avant-garde things, and I don't think it's there like um there's one like direction or place that hip hop's going, which is beautiful, and it's like there's so many subgenres and different, just like in a lot of different
Like
types
rock.
of music,
There's
but
all types of
yeah,
different
like rock.
rocks.
But
Yeah.
I feel like
Different
hip hop
genres
is
and you know.
in a place right now where commercial rap is not what it was, and it's not at like the peak that it was a few years ago, where it was just like hip hop was the number one music that everyone was listening to. It's not anymore. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like reverted back to like this, you know, in a better way of like people are trying to come up with new ways of doing the old.
Yeah. Well, and I think like what you're
That
saying
makes
about
sense.
how it's constantly changing, you end up in a position where, like with other genres of music, it's like there's going to be new versions of rock, but there's still going to be bands that come out in modern era who have an old sound, right?
Yeah,
Who still
absolutely. Yeah.
make classic rock sounding music, or you know, if you take it to any genre, right? The country, for instance, I don't like it, but there's still going to be artists today who are making country music that sounds like country music sounded in the 80s,
Well, there's
in
like
the
country
70s, right?
trap
Like you give
now,
a guy a guitar and have him sing some shit. There's only so many ways to do it.
Well, look at little Xanax. What is his name? Little Nas X.
Right.
Like that shit would have never passed back in the day. But I mean, it's now was a genre in hip hop. You know, it's like the fucking branches of the tree are just getting wild right now on hip hop. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
there's
The
country,
umbrella
like
expands and expands.
exactly,
right?
yeah, exactly. There's so many that didn't exist back then. You either had MC Hammer, Ace of Base, or underground hip hop back then. You know what I mean? Those were
Right.
the only two. And as it goes, you know, there's like new things, which I think is like personally, we're in the fucking best era of hip hop. Like for me personally, because I can, if I want, go to the 80s and listen to hip hop. Or if I want, I could go to the 90s right now and listen to hip hop. And now I'm like, you know, we're in 2025, like listening to this great, like lyrical beats, samplings, like samples that we're robbing nowadays are insane. You know, like back then they couldn't rob that shit.
No, but now there's also a whole thing of musicians specifically making sample music, like for producers to make. So these are like royalty-free samples and like
Drum kits
amazing
and shit like that,
musicians.
right?
Yeah,
Drum
like
packs.
I
Yeah.
made like you know, there's Frank Dukes, like all these guys that just like making loops and thing like specifically for sampling, and they're just like, buy this pack, you know, pay, you know, you're not going to be down the line ding by the record company for, oh, you're sampled this or that. And it's just like, and a lot of those samples are just as good, if not better than what's been, you know. But there's also the, you know, the argument of like the old school, just like the analog sound is the best sound for like sample based hip hop. And like, but even then there's so many like artists and in different countries and stuff that hasn't been discovered yet, and it's just like,
well, you know, and I think that the beautiful thing, like Jack said, that hip hop's in a great place right now, and I would agree, because there are so many different lanes and we can all go direct to fans and find our own niche, you know, find the people who want that lane, and there's access to it that there never was throughout you know, the record industry's history. So yeah, I would agree saying that we're in a good spot right now, and you know, all of the lanes can thrive beside one another, regardless of which one is necessarily the mainstream sound or whatever. I think there's space for them all because so many people are out there consuming music right now.
Absolutely. One thing though that I just watched Raekwon talk about, because he just pulled out an album, and he was making some sense when he was explaining a lot of the hip hop, you know, where like the word hip hop, you know, like it needs, that genre needs to be next to what the hip hop is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's fucking like Iggy Azalea, like it needs to be hip
that's
hop.
rap music.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even
I like that differentiation.
like South, you know what I mean? Like there's, it has to be more specific, because you know, like that's not the hip hop I know. Like that's not Wu Tang. That's not, you know, Big L.
Yeah, you can't just call everything hip hop and leave it there, right?
Has nothing to do with that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, well, I saw what's his name, Russ, talking about it, and he was like, there needs to be like how there's like you know, what's it called, like stuff for like older people, or not even older people, but just like mature hip hop, like that needs to be like a genre.
I saw that clip too. Yeah, I saw both the clips you guys are talking
like
about. I think both Russ and Raekwon made great points there, that there needs to be music for aging people who have grown up with hip hop and are still looking for something to relate to, or still looking for something with that sound that they grew up on or whatever, right?
Adult
Which is
contemporary rap.
yeah, yeah. That makes it sound like it's going to be real slow and peaceful. But,
Sounds fucking gay. Yeah.
tough. I wanted to ask
And
you
you know what
guys.
else? They should have fucking rock bands back on fucking MTV and shit like that, man. I'm done with dancers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need some fucking like instruments on stage. I'm fucking done with that shit. They need to have that shit back. Anyways,
I
that's
think
just
with the
my
rise of
fucking
AI music, which is a scary thing we could talk for an entire podcast about right now, the the people are going to start, like you just said, to want to see more instruments on stage, to want to
yeah,
see that the people making this
realism,
music
real
they're listening
fucking
to are
realism.
actually making this music somehow. And it, a sampler counts. Having somebody play samples or DJ, that definitely counts. I think people will just want to start to gravitate towards things that are
Real,
yeah,
tangible, like
that
shit,
aren't
like
AI. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask you guys about being from Montreal, and I've never been in Canada, at least east of like Toronto, so I don't really know what goes on out there, guys. Humor me on this one, but like, are you guys fluent in French?
All we do is drink beer, fuck bitches, and eat poutine. That's all we
That's
do
how
every
it
day,
goes out there. I hear the
24/7.
strip clubs are great in Montreal.
They're
That's
fucking
something that
amazing,
I've heard
bro.
about Montreal.
No,
No,
I'm
what I
just
wanted
Yeah,
to
the
kidding.
ask
ones
is
that
like, are
aren't
you guys
shut down.
bilingual though? Can you speak
Yeah,
French? Like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
French.
okay, because
He could probably speak better French than I can, but I went to English school. My parents are English. Like I was raised in a pretty English neighborhood.
okay,
In school, like I learned French. Like I can speak French, like in it, like conversationally. I can write in French pretty all right, but I'm a of the Anglo minority in Montreal and in Quebec, So
Mm.
like
word. Well, and Slik Jack, you're one of the guys who is from Montreal who I've never heard rap in French. You're one of the few, right?
No, I
A
don't
lot
rap
of
in
these.
French. I think French rap is garbage.
Okay,
Straight up,
so
straight up.
I
It
wanted to
sounds
ask
like
if you
trash,
guys
and
felt
I
like,
don't think it should exist.
because
That's
there's a
just
lot
my
of guys out
opinion,
there
though.
who
No,
do it,
no.
and just to me, who I can't understand French, so I listen to music by guys, and I'm like, I mean, it's on beat. I'll play it on my show sometimes, right? Like if it's a
Mhm.
beat that I like and Buddy is flowing in a way that I'm all right with,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
You know what? I'm
play.
shitting on it, but it's just not in my lane. That's all it is, man. I have no say about it, to be honest. Like
Okay.
it's not my shit. But yeah, I speak fluent French. Like I'd be two different people like on the street right now if you depending on who you are, you know?
I heard him the other day. He was speaking with with Craven. They were like, I was just like,
Yeah. No, we're fucking. I could get pepper on anybody right now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I went to English school. My parents, my father's from California. My mom is from here. This is where they met for work. So that's what happened. You know, like and they made me. So they were sharing the language type of shit. And
Right.
back in the days, like here, like it was French versus English a lot. So you had to pick a side. Who you gonna be? You know, who your friends type of
Does it
shit.
feel
So
like
that's
guys who speak French out there get a little bit more opportunity, maybe? Because I wouldn't be
yes.
absolutely,
surprised if that was the case.
absolutely.
Okay,
Just
Oh
off
yeah. The
the
government will back them up and everything.
sure.
there's that whole thing, like grants and things like that. Like Quebec or French speaking artists will definitely get more of an opportunity than English, and even more so now. Like they keep making the laws more restrictive to speaking English
Mm.
in Quebec, almost to a like it's like almost illegal to like speak English. Like they just
You got
handed
to
out
move
these
to Toronto if
pamphlets
you want to
for
rap
like
in English. Damn it.
Yeah, but who
no,
can
it's
afford
really
that shit?
fucked up. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
and then you're like you're really trying to push out the whole like I get because they're all the whole thing is like we're trying to preserve the French language.
Right.
Where I get it because their their culture and their distinctive like
you know, that's
So like
important too. But
I live in
specific.
Quebec, right? And I don't consider myself a Quebecer. I'm a Montrealer, which is a very like it's the most dense, like biggest population in Quebec because Quebec is like a like it's a big, huge landmass. It's one of the
Yeah.
biggest landmasses in the world. Like it's huge. It's a big place. A lot of it's uninhabitable, and then a lot of it is just very like French. Not even say ignorant, because it's just like
Yeah,
they
ignorant.
don't know English people. They don't sort of like I've gone through these towns where people don't speak a lick of English. Like they don't understand. They might understand hi. That's it. Like they're like we like drove through one of those towns once, and like there was like this trucker parade going on, and my dad we stopped at a gas station. He's like, "How long is this gonna last?" And the guy was like, "Du glace?" He thought he was asking about glass is ice in French, and he
Okay.
was just like, he thought my dad
Yeah,
was
that's
asking him like, "Oh, do you have ice?" And he was just, so yeah, like it's
when you say you're Canadian first and a Quebecer second, you know, you're talking to a guy in Alberta who um, is a Canadian
yeah.
first
I wouldn't say
before I'm an
Quebec or
Albertan.
Montreal. Like
There's a
I'm from
bunch of people in
Montreal.
Alberta right now who are trying to convince everyone
Yes,
that we should separate
yes.
or whatever the fuck, just like happened in
I've
Quebec
heard.
way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
But yeah,
Crazy times.
I've
Crazy
never
times.
met one of those dudes. I will say that I've never met one. They're real loud on the internet, but I've never fucking come across one in real life.
Yeah. Well, that was a whole thing, like a big contention in Quebec, and like when I was like 10, 11 years old, there was the second referendum, and you know by a narrow margin, we still like we you know the Quebec voted no to separate from Canada, but that was like a real thing that was going to happen. Like it was just like, which is kind of like crazy. We live in a very distinct province, and we have a very like distinct culture, but Montreal is a microcosm in that thing where it's very multicultural, multilingual, multi, uh, you know, just it's part of Quebec, but it's also its own thing. And up until like the 80s, when the first referendum happened, Montreal was on track to be like bigger than what Toronto is now. Like they were on the international scene as like, you know, when they named those cities like New York, London, Milan, Montreal was one of those cities that was like named like as a
It was
cultural
the
hub.
Canadian city to name at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that, you know, and then this whole stuff happened, the language divide, and then yeah, it kind of put Montreal on this like fast track to like yeah, you know, businesses didn't want to invest there, and it's just like it made it harder for outside of Canada and you know to come in and try to make businesses because there's all these like regulations on language and everything needs to be bilingual. Even within our so like if you have a sign, if French isn't 2 times bigger than English, you get a fine.
Okay.
If you have like English signage, only English signage in your business, you get like a fine. Like there's like it's like this weird thing, like almost like communist Russia, where you have like spies, like people coming around, like
Making
like
sure you're speaking
like,
English in the shop and
English.
things.
Oh, they're talking
No, no,
English.
it
Speaking
is
French, I
retarded
mean,
though.
yeah,
That's
speaking French.
just
It's kind
man,
of
they're
crazy,
fucked
man.
up though. They're really fucked up.
Shit.
And
You know what?
I
It's all
feel
the
like
same guys from an era back then where, you know, like I said, like there was a French school next to an English school, and it was important that everybody beat the shit out of each
yeah,
other. And like, you know what I mean? Like that's, and your parents taught you that shit. Oh, fuck les Anglais or what, you know, fuck, you know, these
Right.
little peppers and shit like that. It was like, it was, I don't know about it now because like, obviously I don't go to school, but like, you know, back then, that's how it was, you know? Like, if you fucking started shit with that school, that's what it was. And it evoked, like, a feeling, you know? Somewhat pride and some random anger. It's like, but they implanted that shit on us.
the others. They're the
Tribalism,
others.
man. It's easy to get humans to fight over dumb shit. If,
Yeah, but it's fucked up that they put that shit in us. Anyways.
yeah, Yeah, for real. We could talk about cultural divide all night, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Slik Jack, you said we got to keep this thing to an hour. You got another 10 minutes here for me to rapid fire some
let's
questions?
do that shit.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it. Let's do it. How about this for both of you guys? When's the last time? So, Jack, when's the last time you wrote a bad verse? Vincent, when's the last time you made a bad beat?
That's that question you were telling me about. So one Vince was like, he's gonna throw you this, gonna throw you that bone that's gonna fuck you up. Man, a bad verse. I'm not going in that direction, so I couldn't say I've done that lately.
Right. It's a way for me to kind of ask guys like how often they write. Like, you know, some guys will answer this one and just be like, yo, I write shit every day that never sees the light of day. You know,
No,
not
everything I
necessarily that it's
write down, I'm
bad,
gonna make
but
it work at the end of whatever of the final verse. You know, I'm gonna make, if that's one line, I got that one line for like 2 weeks, and as soon as I do the second line, I know I'm good. It's a fucking
okay.
open faucet.
So you'll stay working on the same verse until it's
That one
good in
line,
a
that
final
first
form.
fucking line, I could go fucking insane over. You know what I mean? Then
First
after
line's
that,
most
just like
important, man.
magic,
First and last,
everything's
right?
fucking flowing beautifully.
Yeah, yeah. Word. What do you think, Vincent? When's
Vince?
the last time you made a bad beat?
It depends. I don't know what you mean. Like, it depends what you mean by bad beat. Like, I've made beats. I'm just
Up to your
like
interpretation.
I can't get the sample right. Like the timing, or there's just like this little like click at the end, and I'm just like, I can't get it. Like I'll like obsess over it for like half an hour, just trying to take a little millisecond off. Um, I don't know. I like some beats are like trial and error. If I find like a really good sample, and I'm like, and then it doesn't work, I'm just like, or I can't find the right drums. That's like a thing. I don't know. It's. I guess that's like a subjective thing. Like what like I consider a bad beat, because I've made like bad beats, and then it ends up being like a track that like a beat that a rapper loves, and I'm just like, really, that you like that? Like I'm like I just
Yeah.
like that's a throwaway beat, you know. So
A lot of producers will say that they never know what the fuck rappers are actually gonna like when they hear it.
there's tracks on this album that I'm just like, this is my favorite beat on the whole, and then I like look at the numbers and I'm like, really, no one likes that? No one's gravitating towards that track? I was just
Shit,
yeah.
those are the breaks sometimes, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep shooting. How about okay? This was a question that popped into my head when I saw somebody was talking about Young Thug had paid 50 grand, and he was, I guess, on some leaked phone call talking about how he paid 50 grand for a #1 single, and how that kind of brought this to the forefront of the conversation that like people are paying a lot of money to blow up,
Absolutely.
right? The
Absolutely.
advertising and that whole promotional push is very important. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, do you think you got to be a certain level of rich before you can find success in hip hop?
Absolutely. That's I don't even know if that's a discussion, to be honest. Like it's since everything, it's like the numbers, the face on the magazines, the you know, the promotion, whatever, you know, the billboards.
Yeah,
The more you got, the higher you are. You know what I mean? So
sure.
it's the same thing with the numbers nowadays. If you paid 50 grand to have this and that, it probably, you know, it fucks with people's psyche. Like not psychologically, it makes people think, who have no clue about music, that it makes them think that this guy is making a whole lot of
Like,
money
oh, I'm seeing
and he
this
must
all
be
around. I'm
amazing
seeing
and shit, you know. For him
Yeah,
to be having this many streams, he must be fucking good.
yeah. People are sheep, man. If they see a bunch of other people like something, they're much more likely to like it themselves. So
That's what I'm
yeah,
getting at. Yeah, absolutely.
buying those numbers goes a long ways. But at the same time, though, right? Like there are probably guys who have success stories just from like pushing shit online, right? Like
It
we do all
happens,
have
yeah.
free access to pushing on social
Yeah.
media.
No, it happens organically. Things happen. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's those instances where it's
mostly
like,
hard work, you know, for like, you know, that's what it is. You can pay out your ass. I didn't listen to that. Yeah, who was it?
It was
That
Young
paid
Thug.
50 grand?
Yeah.
Young Thug. I don't think I've ever listened to a Young Thug song in
I
my
don't
life.
think I have either, but I just pay attention to the hip hop gossip
You
blogs.
know what I
Really,
mean?
but
Like, so I saw, yeah, cool. He's got the number one, but like whoever's watching this probably hasn't listened to a Young Thug fucking song in their life either. Like,
Pretty
I don't know
unlikely.
why, but
I have.
I feel that way.
But I don't. I'm not like I'm gonna say a Young Thug fan. I don't think he's the worst, but he's dead.
No,
Like,
no, no. But
anyways,
you know
all
what
that
I'm
to
getting
say,
at, like. He's not
yes,
like the top of the pyramid type of shit. You know what I mean? Like
no,
he's
no,
like, obviously I've probably heard music. I'm not shitting on him. Obviously he's making way more money than me, so he must be, you
people
know.
like it. Yeah, there's lots of people out
Yeah,
there that
people
like it.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, but he's not in the lane I'm in. So honestly, I couldn't say, you know.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, I mean, I think like the promotion side of things is just more and more important as we go on trying to manipulate these algorithms or whatever, right? You can get free access to it, but you end up
yeah,
getting buried by everybody else if they're paying more money than you are.
yeah.
Well, that's it. Because now there's
Yeah.
campaigns. You got to get sponsored doing this. You got to get PR. You got to, you know, if you don't have money in this game, you're not going nowhere. And I think we were just having that conversation, me, Vince, and some other dudes, a few nights back at the Danielson concert. And you got to be able to
You have to
invest. You
spend
got to
money to
invest.
make money. Like,
Absolutely.
that's like,
And that's just like any business model. So
Right.
Yeah.
you got to be able to be. You have to have the drive. Number one. Number two, you got to know where to put your money as well. Because some people will be like, okay, I'm just gonna buy 50K streams. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's not where you put your money. You got to go find that fucking PR agent. You got to go find that sponsor. You got to go pay that campaign. You got to read up. You got to, you know, don't be a
that's
dumb
gonna
fuck.
get your music to the people that actually want to hear it instead of just like click farms and this and that. It's like, oh, I have 50,000 listens on this song, but and like 3 or 4 like comments or whatever. It's like people
It
can
makes
see
no
through that
sense.
shit. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
not adding up. Yeah.
it's just like
That's
you want to pay for engagement, but you want to pay for it to get to the right ears. Like you want it to
yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's like, yeah, you put money into it, but in the right, like Slik was saying, like, you know, find your lane, find your avenue, get it to the right people, and sometimes paying money and you know get it is that's what it's gonna take. You know, just like
Mhm.
obviously some things are just gonna blow up organically, or you know, but most things are not. So
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
not
so the last kind of segment that I do on this show with every guest I have is ask these how important is questions. You might have seen clips of them. I spend a lot of time chopping these fucking clips and making montages of these
Yeah, I
things
can
just
imagine.
to get the general consensus of what people across the country think of each of these things. So it's all very subjective. There's no right or wrong answers to these, but how important is having stage banter or storytelling while you're on stage, like between songs?
be right back.
It depends. It depends on who you are. You know.
Yeah.
If you're a charismatic person, then that's definitely what people want to see. You know. If you're, let me think of somebody. Action Bronson.
Right.
Okay. Just as an example, like he's comedic, so you want to hear that shit in between. You want to hear that banter. You want to hear all that dumb shit he's gonna say in between tracks, and I think that's important. But it depends on the character. I think.
Yeah,
Depends
that
on
makes
the
a lot of
MC.
sense, man. For real, for real. Here, let me rapid fire a couple of these things. How
Yes, sir.
important is competition in hip hop?
Super important.
Yeah.
Super important. It's like playing chess. If you're gonna play chess to lose, you're a dumb fuck.
Yeah, definitely, man. How important is living what you rap about?
You could be the guy that sees it. You could be the guy that lives it. You could be the guy with the crackhead mom. You could be all types of people. And sometimes it also leads to imagination and creativity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have my buddy. Well, I mean, buddy, it's my guy, like Ayo Biggs, who likes to say his life. He's a Tupac kind of guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you'll hear like a Biggie type of guy who'll rap about what he's, the environment kind of thing. So it depends. It depends on who you are, where you're from, what you've lived, what you've seen. So.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes about that subject, Jay-Z said in some interview a long time ago, just like, yeah, well, I don't do this shit now, but like, how far away is any memory that you've ever lived through? Like, of course, I still remember that life or whatever, right? So, yeah, I think if people have been through it, but
that's a whole different fuck. Hold up. That's like some fucking little Xanax little guy, But Jay-Z you can't rap about the hood and be like one of the fucking like top billionaires.
Be a billionaire.
You can't be on Forbes magazine and be like, when I was this or when shut the fuck up at this point,
He might not have been a billionaire when he made that quote. I'm not 100%.
Okay. Well,
but
if
at the
he
same
did,
point,
if
yeah,
he did,
I get
it's
you.
like, that's word up.
Yeah. About how important is any one substance to your artistic process?
Coffee.
Coffee, that's important.
Coffee is very important to me.
How about you, Vincent?
Ooh, Vince. Beer? Spliff?
Weed.
Yeah.
Weed, I knew it. Yeah.
It's legal. We can say it out loud. Shit.
Yeah.
My name is Doobyis.
Yes, weed.
Yes. Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
even then, it's also been a hindrance to like my creative like when I'm smoking too much weed, I get the brain fog. I get the So in my older age, I'm 40. I don't mind saying how old I am. Taking breaks sometimes is good, and just to clear your mind and get back
breaks are great,
get back to a baseline.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely weed. I like to be high when I make beats.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tap into the creativity. How about this? How important is working with one producer to develop a sound? I've worked with a lot of young artists who tell me like, oh, I want to either make my own beats so that I can develop my own sound, or lock in with one producer and really develop a sound together.
There's definitely a cohesiveness that happens because of people's history. So like Vince will know the lane I'm in. I know the lane Vince is in, and that's also why we click, because I was like, his shit is like in the lane I'm in. So yeah. It is important in a way, because that's a tough question.
I'd almost expect that it would get easier for you guys to work together, on the second project, but you told me it was the reverse, that the first one came together easier.
Yeah, but it was also because we had the first one we didn't have anything to like base it on, right? And the second one we were just like, oh, we have to make this as good or better than, but at the same time not. So it's just like there were some tracks that were like, yes, this was like, I was like, oh yeah, it's good. And then we'd wait, and then like 2 weeks would go by, and it's like it was just like, actually, because of these other tracks, I don't think this one fits with those anymore.
Right.
So I had to go back and remake. Like some beats I remade 5 times. Like I'd literally like 5, 6. There was like version 1, version 2, like
yeah.
Like
was that more often because you yourself Vince, was that more often because you yourself wanted to redo it because, like you said, after 2 weeks the beat you didn't like it, or
No,
was
it's
it
more him. He was
back and
just
forth
like, this
between the two of
doesn't.
you? Like, yo, you got to change this.
It was more him. I
Okay.
will admit he was a bit pickier, but at the end of the day, the way the thing, because I still have those beat, like I saved them. I saved the different versions of the songs, but in the end, those it served the purpose of the whole project of like, yes, that was the right decision. As much as like they were dope beats, because every time he was just like, yes, this is a dope beat, is good, but with the other thing, it doesn't.
It's a formula
It's not
sometimes.
the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's just like individually, like every track was dope or whatever. Like, but I had, there was a few, and then there was a few that he was like, no, 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 and I was like, no, I'm keeping
No,
this one.
yeah, he
I'm
had to put
keeping
his
this
foot
one.
down on a couple.
I get the veto. I'm keeping this one. We're keeping this track. I believe in this. I
Well,
love
I
this
think
beat.
I think the end product, however it ended up coming together, was one that's well worth everybody checking out. If people haven't heard it, they definitely should go check it out.
Absolutely. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah, hell yeah. Where can they buy it? Where's the best place to go listen and support?
Absolutely everywhere. And I don't know when you're going to drop this, but we're going to have a CD at DITC Friday, vinyl 187 Records Friday, and stream it everywhere. It's like everyone else. It's on all platforms. And
if you want to buy it, Bandcamp. Did they have Bandcamp Friday already? Did they do that?
It's normally the first Friday of every month if they're going to do it that month. I feel like. So it might be a couple days away right now, I think. Although I can't be sure.
It's up on Bandcamp. It's on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's on Deezer. It's on Pandora. It's on Napster.
Have you guys ever met anybody who actually streams on Deezer? Who the fuck is using Deezer?
Napster? I was just like, Napster? Okay, it's on there. Isn't it? Amazon Music.
Who uses Tidal, though, except for like when Jay-Z came out with that?
Right. Well, I have at least seen a few arguments online about like, oh, but they pay artists more and like the quality is better.
But yeah, those are two things. It's lossless.
Okay.
And they pay the artist the most next to like Apple Music. I've seen the breakdown of like the
yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Spotify. They fuck everybody, and a lot of artists have told me fuck Spotify, and I tend to agree. My newest music isn't up on Spotify, and I don't know if I'll put it there ever, really, but it is what it is. I think
you got to be everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the best. If you're trying to actually access the widest market, you got to put it out there. Okay, before I let anybody leave, I ask, can you describe your local scene?
Vince, I don't go out, so.
I would say it's burgeoning right now. Like, we got us, we got, Lowe's is still making music. We got my boys 80 and Borden, got Revolver Mags, J Red. There's the whole French scene. There's Mike Shab. There's it's Montreal's there's a lot of interesting things going on in terms of just like traditional boom bap hip hop, and then also new shit and just like, I'll say our best artist out of the city right now and the most
is Vincent Pryce and Slik Jack. What's up?
Yeah.
Peace, yo.
No, I'm gonna say, but yeah, Mike Shab. Like Mike Shab is like the sound of like future sound of Montreal. Like he embraces the essence of hip hop and what it is and the sampling but he also understand like because he's a young dude, so he's just like,
yeah.
He also embrace like he's just like making the music that like is the next generation. Like, so he's very innovative and he makes beats. He's an incredible rapper. He's just like, So yeah,
I play his
I'd
music
say
a lot on After the Smoke
yeah,
is Clear.
yeah. So
He's a regular on there for sure. Yeah.
I would say, you know, Montreal is next to Toronto is probably the best competitor in Canadian hip hop right
Right.
now that I know of, that I've heard. You know,
I think
we're in
there's
a
an
bit of a
argument to be
bubble
made.
here.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made. I think, you know, Vancouver, Halifax, and my personal favorite is Edmonton. Edmonton's where my roots are, and there's a lot of dope
Yeah,
MCs up there.
yeah.
But yeah, I think Montreal definitely has a ton of talent out there from what I can tell from where I'm
We have
sitting.
a lot of good
Anyways,
beat makers here and producers that just like, you know, Kate Renata, Dave One from Chromeo, and they were like, so a slight little sidetrack. Dave One started off in a group called Obscure Disorder, and he was a producer, and his brother, younger brother, A-Track, DJ A-Track.
yeah, legend.
Yeah. So, and Troy Dunnett, who features on our Dumpade, the co-production I did with
Salute to Troy Dunnett.
Craven.
Yeah, and he's got a new album out right now too. Yeah.
Obscure Disorder was one of the Obscure Disorder was one of the first like Montreal groups, other than like Shades of Culture, that I heard that were like making an impact in Montreal and Quebec, and they had songs with like Nonfiction back in the day, like 2 or 3 tracks with Nonfiction. So they were like on the underground scene in like the early 2000s, and like that made me think that it was possible that I could do this, you know. So
Inspiration.
yeah, shout outs to them.
Oh yeah,
and it all comes full circle because, you know, now we have Troy Dunnett on our project. So
beautiful. Yeah. Anything to say about the local scene, Jack?
I can't speak on it. I'm not there enough. But everybody's got to go peep the price you pay. That's what I gotta get to.
100%. Where can they find you on social media?
Slik Jack on everything. Slik Jack on Facebook, on Instagram, on fucking Twitter or X or whatever, and all that good shit.
Sure. And to answer your question, I should have this online 2 or 3 days from now. So any shows
Perfect.
or tours or anything like that to tell people about?
What can people do for us? Just like hit my PayPal.
Hit the PayPal. Go buy the album. Send money over. If you don't want to buy the album, just send money.
Hotmail.com. Just hit my PayPal. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, beautiful. All right, guys. Well, thanks for doing this. I appreciate you staying a little bit over time. And
yes, appreciate you having us, man.
I'm gonna keep playing the music. You know, feel free to send music over. You know what it is. Always love out here in Alberta. And
likewise, my guy.
Get you all on the next one. Come back anytime you got a new project to talk about. I'm here for it.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have a good
All right,
night.
peace.
All right, there we go. I have a bunch of interviews booked coming up. Next week, I'm talking to Stephen Hero and Wolf Castle. That'll be October 14th. It's always Tuesdays over on Twitch TV/Doobyis, twitch.tv/Doobyis. That's how you can watch live every Tuesday. So yeah, next weekend, Stephen Hero and Wolf Castle, far East Coast guys based out of Halifax. They've got a new project out. A couple singles have dropped from it. The entire project hasn't hit the shelves yet. Hit whatever digital internets. October 21st, we go to the other coast, out to the West Coast. I'm talking to Brainiac and his Seattle homie Kjon. They have a new album out that is dope. October 28th, today, I managed to find a replacement for my homie DJ Baggyleen, who has to be in Montreal, coincidentally, on that day. And so today I talked to Uncle Fester. Him and Roshan have a project coming out that has, I think, 3 singles out right now, dope as hell. And according to Fester, that might be out on like 23rd, I think he said. So if it's out late October anyways, it'll be perfect timing because I'm talking to Uncle Fester and Roshan, who've both been on Fly-In Formation, you know, separately or with other artists twice. Both of them have been on twice. Looking forward to catching up with them. That should be fun. November 4th, I talked to Saskatoon-based MC F. Thompson. And then November 11th, I'm talking to another guy who has done a full project with Vincent Pryce. New Villain. Sorry, the name of the album has escaped me. Right, whatever. If you go search for New Villain, you'll see his album from a couple years ago with Vincent Pryce. Baroque Works, I think, maybe? I don't know. Baroque Works. But that shit was dope. I played it on AtSick. You know, tap in. Doobyis.com. Doobyis is where you can find me, all the interviews, all the episodes of After the Smoke is Clear, where you can listen to Canadian hip hop. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Hope you had fun, and I will catch you next time.